Imagine this: a guy walks onto a stage with no script, no plan, just pure explosive energy. Voices flying out of nowhere, characters popping in and out like fireworks. The crowd is losing it, roaring with laughter. That was Robin Williams in his prime. The fastest mind in comedy, the guy who could make an entire room, hell, an entire generation, feel alive. But what if I told you that same man, the one who lit up the world, was quietly drowning in the dark? This is the real story of Robin Williams, not just the legend, the man, the joy, the pain, and the cruel disease that stole him from us way too soon. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll never watch his movies the same way again. Robin McLaurin Williams was born on July 21, 1951, in Chicago, Illinois. His family had money. His dad was a senior executive at Ford, his mom a former model. Big house, everything a kid could want, except company. His parents were always working or traveling, so Robin spent huge chunks of his childhood alone in that mansion, inventing voices for his toys just to keep himself entertained. He was a shy, quiet kid, the type who got bullied for being chubby, but the moment he started doing impressions or cracking jokes, suddenly he wasn't invisible anymore. Laughter became his shield, his way to connect with the world. He ended up at Juilliard in New York, one of the toughest acting schools on the planet. His teacher saw something wild in him right away and called it unharnessed energy. He roomed with Christopher Reeve, Superman himself, and the two became brothers for life. But Juilliard couldn't contain him. He dropped out and hit the comedy clubs in San Francisco and LA. That's where he truly exploded. No two shows were ever the same. He'd riff off the audience, pulling aliens, old ladies, presidents, and cartoon characters out of thin air. People said watching Robin improvise was like watching a human tornado of genius. Then, 1978, everything changed. A tiny guest spot on Happy Days as an alien named Mork was so electric they built an entire show around him, Mork and Mindy. Nanu Nanu! Overnight he became America's funniest guy. Hollywood came running. Good Morning Vietnam in 1987 earned him his first Oscar nomination for that manic radio DJ Dead. Poets Society in 1989 gave us Oh Captain, My Captain, and taught a whole generation to seize the day. Then came the family classics. His Genie in Aladdin is still the greatest voice performance Disney ever had, pure improvised chaos. Mrs. Doubtfire in 1993 had us crying with laughter while he ran around in drag. The Birdcage, Jumanji, and finally Good Will Hunting in 1997, that quiet, heartbreaking therapist role that won him the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. They called him the funniest man alive, a human hurricane of energy, the guy who never turned it off. But behind the scenes, the mask was cracking. Robin had fought cocaine and alcohol in the 80s and got sober after his friend John Belushi died. But depression never really left him. Colleagues said, the second the camera stopped rolling, the light in his eyes went out. He poured everything into making people laugh because he knew exactly how bad emptiness hurts. He once said, the saddest people always try hardest to make others happy because they don't want anyone else to feel what they feel. 2 painful divorces left him millions in debt from alimony and bad investments. The king of Hollywood suddenly had to take roles he didn't love just to pay bills. Offstage, he was intensely lonely. The same energy that electrified audiences left him completely drained and hollow when the lights went down. He was the clown with the broken heart. By 2014, at age 63, something was seriously wrong. Panic attacks, insomnia that wouldn't quit, paranoia, tremors, memory slips. He couldn't remember lines anymore. Something unthinkable for a mind that moved at light speed. Doctors diagnosed Parkinson's in May of that year. He was terrified of losing control, of never performing again. His wife Susan watched him come undone. He'd wake up in terror, seeing things that weren't there, lost in fear one minute and okay the next. On August 11, 2014, in their home in Northern California, Robin Williams took his own life. The world shattered. How could the man who gave us so much joy choose to leave? Then the autopsy results came back. It wasn't just depression or Parkinson's. Robin had one of the most severe cases of Lewy body dementia ever recorded. Lewy bodies are abnormal protein deposits that spread like wildfire across the brain, destroying everything in their path. hallucinations, rigid movements, wild mood swings, crippling anxiety, sleep disorders, and cognitive decline that comes and goes, making it a nightmare to diagnose. Doctors said almost no neuron in Robin's brain had been spared. Experts called it one of the worst pathologies they'd ever seen. His widow Susan later said, "Robin was losing his mind and he was aware of it. Can you imagine the pain?" She called it the terrorist inside my husband's brain. It wasn't depression that killed Robin. Lewy body dementia killed him. He hid so much of it to protect the people he loved. He was terrified he'd never make anyone laugh again, trapped inside the very image the world adored. The pressure to always be on, always funny, became its own prison. Robin Williams left us far too soon, but man, what a legacy. He showed us how to live with passion, carpe diem, how to find magic in the ordinary, whether it was a genie in a lamp or a dad in a dress. He reminded us to be kind because everyone is fighting a battle we know nothing about. His death sparked a global conversation about mental health and about Lewy body dementia, a disease that still steals lives in silence. Research, foundations, awareness, all of it grew because one man's tragedy forced us to look closer. Hollywood's spotlight is brutal. It demands you shine even when you're burning out inside. Robin paid the ultimate price for the light he gave us. But turn on Dead Poets Society. Hear the genie's voice, quote, "Miss S. Doubtfire, and he's still here, making us laugh, making us feel, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, a little spark of madness and humanity can change everything." Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Robin. You seized the day, and you taught us how. The world is quieter without you, but it's forever brighter because you were in it.